Hi everyone, welcome to another Flosstube. This is Flosstube number 39, and today I have a WIP and finish parade for the first half of 2023. But before we jump into that, I want to say thank you so much if you're a returning viewer that you're coming back. It warms my heart that you want to spend some time with me. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Marika. I come from Stockholm, Sweden, where I live with my boyfriend and my 2 cats, and this is a channel all about cross-stitching. First, we're going to jump into a couple of housekeeping things. If you didn't see last week's video, I do celebrate 1 year on YouTube and I have a couple of giveaways. So if you enjoyed that, you can jump on and see that video. There's still a week left to enter. And also this video, I'm going to have the oldest started of my WIPs, the oldest started to the newest, and when it comes to the finishing project is from the oldest finished and forward. I am only going to go through the 1st of January to the 30th of June, and there might be a couple of WIPs that you don't see in this because I have finished them between last week's video and this week's video, but those will be shown next week. So with no further ado, I will be looking down here because I have all my notes here. But let's start with the work in progress. So the first project we have, and one of the ones that isn't ironed, is my oldest WIP. I started this in 2017, and that is Butterfly and Clematis. And this is how far I come. It's a little bit longer here. I think I'm around 45% of this project. This is a dimension kit. It is stitched on 14 count ivory Ida with the dimension kit threads. It is a sunset kit by dimension. The kit itself is from 2001. I'm actually currently working on it, so this is my active WIP, and I've actually got a bunch done in the last couple of days. I think I'm around 1,000 stitches or something, so it's going well. It is about 15,000 stitches in this project. Project number 2, this is a RDC cross-stitch project. I started this on the 8th of December 2018, and this is Christmas House 1. So this project I have been working on off and on. I have other full coverage project also, so this hasn't got as much love that it should get. This is called Christmas House 1. It has called Over the Rooftop, and it was sharded by another designer before. However, RTC is a licensing company and they brought back some of their patents to their own sharding company called RTC Cross Stitch. So this is one of them. So if you want to get it, it's now called Christmas House 1. I am stitching this on some white Lugana. This is 25 count Lugana. I'm stitching 2/1 because I love how thick the fabric gets. So that is project WIP number 2. It probably will be shown somewhere in towards the winter, towards the colder months. Project number 3, which I have been working on since October 1st, 2020, that is called Sloth. Sloth is a Heaven and Earth design stitched on 25 count Lugana even weave, and yeah, it is in current hiatus. I don't know if I'm going to continue stitch on it or what I'm going to do with it. I have previously stitched Wrath and Envy. This is my 3rd of the 7 sins. It's a series of 7 ladies that kind of represent a sin, and I love them, but I don't want them on my walls, and even if I would stitch on them every day, they will take a minimum of 1.5 years each. And I feel that there's so many other cross stitches I want to stitch on, so I think this will not only be hiatus but also become an UFO in the future. Project number 4, which I have stitched on since 8th of December 2022, is Winter Cabin. And if you're wondering, what are these 8th of December starts? Well, I start things when I'm on vacation. I take with me a kit, and then I started at the hotel, and that was how I started Christmas House, and that is also how I started the Winter Cabin. Winter Cabin is a design from Dimension. This one you can still get fairly easily. I found mine, I think in a store in the US. However, I know that you can find them even just on Amazon at this moment. This one is stitched on a 16 count grey Ida. It looks more blue. It just looks more blue. It's a very bluish Ida. And I have about 30% left of that one. Project number 5, that is Hive Rules. So this is a Primrose Cottage Stitches project, and I was joining the Hive Rules Sal, which you can find on Facebook as a group. I kind of petered out after the Always Be Kind, because when I started with the Always Be Kind, I decided I wanted more bees, so I stitched up every bee design that Primrose Cottage Stitches have. And not only did I burn out on bees, I sadly also burn out on Primrose Cottage. So right now, this is the only one that I have in any kind of line to continue with or start. So yeah, this shouldn't take so long. I think I'd have 1 or 2 more pieces and then it's done. So I should really just put that time in. It's just a couple of days of stitching. Yes, this is stitched on 14 count light yellow Ida. This specific piece I've had in my stash for over 20 years. However, you can buy this kind of fabric from me, a 14 count light Ida, but it's a little bit lighter than this, slightly lighter than this, just so you know. Project number 6 is this one. This is Gamer Nouveau, and this is just how much I've gotten. It's a lot left. This is by Gecko Rouge. Again, this is a full coverage stitch, so it's stitched on 25 count Lugana, 2/1, and this specific one is a pre-gridded, like the Swagart easy grid kind of material. I prefer that over my own gridded fabrics. Actually, I've changed a lot in the last year, but this, I loved it. However, I have stitched this in hand. My stitches gets a little bit thicker, which actually shows the grid line, the lining much more. So I am going to move this into a frame later on, but first I'm gonna sew the edges. Project number 7, and that is Cozy Cafe by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I must have really not counted correctly when I cut this fabric, because this is how big it's gonna be. But yeah, it looks lovely. This is on a 16 count dirty by Witchelt, I think. It is a gorgeous fabric. It is also a gorgeous stitch. And I'm really loving it. I'm really, really loving it. The 8th and next to last project I have for you is the Castle Homecoming Sal. That is a current Sal from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I have stitched the 2 first prompts. It has released 1 more piece, or clues. It has released 1 more clue, and the 4th clue will be released next week, I think. So right now this is all I have, but I'm hoping to get both of the clues done next week, so then I have more to show you on next week's video. The last and final works in progress, which is my 9th work in progress, is the Christmas Village Ornaments by Dimension, and this is just how far I've gotten on the first one. This is the one with the barn, so you can see this is a barn roof. These pieces are very, very small. I cut them down because I wanted to make sure that I placed the designs in the middle, and they are very small pieces. They have very little outline on the sides. I am going, most likely just gonna tack this onto some other fabric on the sides, just so I can put it in my frame, because my hands doesn't like having this little piece of fabric. Also, this is 18 count ivory, so the stitches are teeny, teeny, tiny. Yeah, teeny, tiny stitches. And that was all of my WIPs, and now to the finishes for the first half of this year, and we're gonna start with some pillows. So I started off this year actually stitching on some of my own designs. You can find these over the Craft a Bit shop on Etsy, which is always linked in the description down below. So the first one of my finishes is this Hugs and Kisses little pillow. It is stitched on 18 count white Ida. I have given it little tassels, and then it has this like simple green fabric, red fabric. This isn't green, this is red. It's very obvious. It's actually more pink than red. When I bought it, I thought it was a red fabric, but it's more pink than red, and it works very, very good with the rest of the colors. So yeah, that is Hugs and Kisses. The second of them I made, this is a trio of pillows, is Love You Lots. Again, it's the simple kind of same idea. It's just a little square image with a little bit of text. It's perfect as a little Valentine's gift. The last Valentine's pillow is Be Mine. Again, you can get all these in my store. All of them are stitched on 18 count white Ida with the threads in the chart. My next finish of the year was my first Mill Hill Santa. So this year I am hosting the hashtag Mill Hill Santa Sal 2023, where I personally stitch 1 Mill Hill Santa every month throughout 2023. 2023. But the whole SAL is just stitched on one Santa in 2023, and you can join. I'm hoping that more people will join as we come to Christmas. But this is the Lapland Santa. I really love the little reindeer. I chose this to be my first one because I live in Sweden, and the Santas, the Lapland actually exists in Sweden. However, the Lapland mostly talked about is the Finnish Lapland, where you can find the kind of Santa's workshop and stuff. I have backed this with just some red felt, just glued it on straight on. It's stitched on perforated paper, and then I have a little red ribbon, and that is the little ornament I made out of that Santa. Project number 5, I am going to totally lose count because I don't have a counted list, so I'm going to lose count on this. But project number 5 is the City Christmas. It is the Dapper Dudas by Stitching with the Housewives, and this one I have taken all of the 4 City Christmas Dapper Dudas. This is from like November of last year, I think. And what I have done is that I have made a little an extra little yellow bauble up here. And also added in some more of those white snowflakes and a tree in between each of them, just to get it a little bit more balanced, so it looks like it is separate houses, even though it's just 4 sections that I have added together. So this is stitched on 16 count white Ida, and I have way too little of a border on this one. This is the smallest border that I might personally have had on a project, but it is going to be on a board, so might not be too worrisome. Number 6 is Popcorn Valentine. This is also stitched on a 16 count white Ida. I had a little period here where I stitched everything on 16 count white Ida. This is from a World of Cross Stitching magazine calendar. I think it's from like 2015. Don't quote me on that. It's one of those calendars that was with the Cross Stitching magazine. When I got it, I used to have all of the magazines from like 2004 up to 2016 or something, but I gave them away, and now I take everything digitally instead, and they have from 2015 and forward. However, I did keep some of them, and the little calendar for Popcorn was one. It's 4 patterns in this. This is just Popcorn, his little souffle, and some heart balloons. This was made for my boyfriend. The next project I have, I'm gonna have to put an image up here because I have already given it away. It was a gift for my co-worker. I actually made 3 of these the same. It is Bunny on Moon, or Sweet Dreams, I think it's called. It's from a 2015 Cross Stitcher magazine, I think. I love the design. I've done it before as a just with a white frame. This time I actually quilted the border around it, and I gave it to 3 of my co-workers that all have babies within a month. So this is that one. It is stitched on 14 count opalescent Ida, white Ida, and it is sharded with a Lena thread, which is supposed to, you brush it to make it fluffy. I didn't have it, so I just used the 435, 37, and I think 433, 435, and 437 as the browns. I think that was it. I think I have more details about it on my video that was made. And the next stitch after that is my Valentine stitches. This is where I started with my Valentine stitches. This is the first one I started and the first one I finished, which was on the 1st of February. I got the insane idea that I would start a new project every day throughout February, and they would be Valentine projects. However, by I think like day 10 or 12, I was so overwhelmed that I stopped starting projects, and I just finished the one I had. But this is the first one I started. It is called Together Forever. It is a card cross stitch, or cross stitch for a card, from World of Cross Stitching, February 2015, issue 225, and this is also stitched on 16 count white Ida. The next one is also a Valentine project. It was a freebie from Shannon Christine Designs. It's called X's and Does. The colors are a little bit modified because I used the pinks and browns that I had with me because I was on a cross stitch retreat when I made this. It is stitched on a, I think it's very similar to a vintage mocha from Swagart. I won't tell you the correct fabric because it is sold in a store that I don't support, but I thought I'd show you this anyhow. It's very similar to vintage mocha, so I would go with that if I would stitch it again. Then I have a Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery project, and this is I Love You a Latte. It is on the same 14 count fabric. I really like to have the brown fabric with the brown project. The white shows up much better in real life. The vintage mocha is actually slightly darker than this is, so the white would show up much better on that fabric. But there you go, I Love You a Latte. And to finish off the works on that fabric, I had a little bit left, and this is a freebie. This is from the r/r, so a Reddit channel called Cross Stitching, where the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery were so happy about everything that was shared in that group from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, or if they had, they also kind of sponsor once a month different designers, something like that. This is wonderful. So if you log into Reddit and to that group, you can get this pattern, which is super adorable, with a little bun, a little cinnamon bun. Now this is my second Santa of the year. The second Santa of the year, this is the Nunavut Santa, which I finished the same way as I finished the last one, with red fabric, a little ribbon, or red felt, a ribbon, and this is on perforated paper. So this is a Mill Hill kit called Nunavut Santa. Then I finished Loads of Love. This is a primrose pattern, which these were the kind of the start of my primrose. Well, the fall was the start of my primrose obsession, but I really like this. This is stitched on, you guessed it, this is 16 count white Ida. I've done two substitutions. I substituted one of the greens and one of the pinks because they were variegated threads that I didn't have. So I think the green is 946 and the pink was 3860. I think that was it. I'm not sure, so go check where I shared this, and it should be in the description of that one. I can't fill all those information in the description today because I have too many projects, so instead I'm hoping that you just ask if you need the information. Next project was a stitch along with Nicole Spohr, and this is more chocolate bunnies by Hands On Design, and this isn't done. One of you actually told me, kind of reflected, where is it tail? Yeah, I forgot the tails. I have white little buttons that were supposed to be the tails. I never added them, and I don't know how to add them after I have fixed this. And this is actually laced, and I just don't want to unlace it. So I'm still thinking about, but right now, how to do that. But right now it doesn't have any tails. But that is more chocolate bunnies by Hands On Design. Then I finished another Santa because the Santas are kind of sprinkled in right through this. This is the February Santa, and this is the Greenland Santa, and this is also the last of that series of Santas. So all of these kind of Santas comes in a series of 3. I usually stitch all 3 of them, and this is the Greenland Santa, and I think it's adorable and super cute, and it was a lot of fun to stitch. This is covered with green. Here I use a little bit too much glue. Using the glue actually helps stabilize this project. Sorry, I do have a little bit of kitty hair on it. And then just the red ribbon. And the project after that is actually the companion piece to the More Chocolate Bunnies, and that is Hop On In. This is stitched on 14 count Misty Blue Swagart fabric, which the first one also, I forgot to tell you, it's 14 count Misty Blue. I have switched out a green in this. I actually have switched out on this, I'm sorry. This one was supposed to have, I think the shadow is supposed to be 341, however it just didn't work with this fabric, so I went in with a darker blue. This one, the whole Hop On In was supposed to be the 341, however with this Misty Blue fabric it just disappeared, so instead I took the 3781, which is a lovely brown, and I use that instead on the Hop On In. The next one is another bunny fantastic. I was in my bunny world, and when Nicole showed us the chocolate bunnies and the Hop On In, she did a poll if we would do the More Chocolate Bunny or if we would do Hope. And because I really liked Hope, I also picked that one up. This one is by Cherry Hill Stitchery, and it's stitched on 16 count steel by Fiber on a Whim. And I have made substitution to this. I actually have changed the browns to the 3781 because I really like that yummy chocolate color. So I kind of changed the brown to that. So it actually makes the bunnies pop a little bit better on the fabric also. Next project, there's a lot of projects, we're getting through them. This is a Hummingbird Drama. This is a kit which when I picked it up I thought it was a cross stitch kit, and when I got home, and I think it was when I hauled it on the channel, I realized this isn't cross stitch, this is needlepoint. I have actually ironed this now and it did straighten out a little bit, so I think that I could just wet it a little bit and use blocking needle and block it, and it will be a little bit more square. But yeah, I really like doing it. The needlepoint is a little bit different. You have a little bit more freedom, and I don't know if it suits me, but it was fun to finish this off. And I think I'm going to give it like a black frame or something. Next project is a freebie from Heart in Hand, and that is Do What You Love, Stitch. This is a lot of changes. First of all, I have decided to stitch it on the steel by Fiber on a Whim, and number two, I took the colors that I used for Hope and then I just placed it a little bit everywhere where I wanted it to be. Some of the things doesn't show up as well on this, but I kind of liked it anyhow. It's kind of like a muted version. I do want to do something round with it, but we'll see. It's in my finished pile, one day to be fully finished. The next project is another Mill Hill kit. Yes, there is a lot of Mill Hill kits in this because I like doing them in between bigger projects. When I've been working a couple of days on a bigger project, going in, taking 1 or 2 days, just stitch up a little Mill Hill kit really gives that drive back into stitching. It works really great for me. This is Winter Barn by Mill Hill. It is from the 2022 winter collection. It is adorable, it has all the beads, I even missed some in the border there that you can see, but I realized that after I put this together, so I'm just ignoring it and letting it be. It is also some red felt in the back, and then I have a golden ribbon as the hanger. I like using a thinner ribbon for smaller things and a thicker ribbon for bigger things, but that is just a personal preference. And I think this is the last finished project that I have here. All my other Mill Hills are in a little stack of these are going to be finished one day. The next project I only have a picture for. This is the Bacon and Eggs Mill Hill kit. I'm going to show you a couple of them from the Summer Bouquet 2023. This one I gave to my brother because we have like a little joke about bacon and eggs. He actually started to be a chef. Then decided that the chef business wasn't for him, but he is really good at cooking, so I thought that would be awesome. That is another Mill Hill kit. The next Mill Hill kit I have for you is the Love Cooking. Again, this is something I gave to my brother around Easter, and this has a little, it's just an apron, says Love Cooking on it, and I thought it would fit perfectly with the bacon and eggs. And then the next one, which again is an image, is Little Llama. It's from the Spring Bouquet series. There's a series of 6 design in that. This little llama I gave away to my brother's girlfriend. Now we have some more fabric stitching, because that was when I found out that I'm gonna be an auntie, and of course I had to find a fun little project that I can make something with. Still haven't made something with it, but this is a Fizzy Moon. This is from the June 2015 World of Cross Stitching magazine, issue 229. Fizzy Moon was really big back then. He is super adorable. It's a lot of block stitching, so it goes fairly quickly. It is stitched on 14 count white Aida, and I'm planning to do some kind of wall hanging with it. From the beginning I was thinking about making a baby quilt, but I have other ideas for that right now. Next project is Orange Tree. This was in a Cross Stitch Gold magazine, number 29. That is one of the few magazines that I kept. I have a few magazines that I kept. That is one of them because I really love this design. In 2013, me and my boyfriend started traveling to Florida every other winter. And oranges is quintessential Florida. So this is going to be on our Florida wall. So yeah, really love this design. It is stitched on a vintage blue fabric. It's a Swagart fabric, so search for vintage blue. There's one, it's called something blue, but I don't remember, but it's a vintage blue and it looks great. It looks like like clouds. So if you have something that is going to have some sky in it or so, it would be great. However, this image ended up being fairly full coverage. Then we have another middle kit. I needed a little, I worked very intensely on the oranges. I think it took me like 4 or 5 days to finish it off, but that was a lot of stitching, so I needed something little, and that ended up being this one, which is Scooter. Also from the Spring 2023 Spring Bouquet collection. This one actually reminds me very much of my friend Orietta, because for me, scooters are Italian and she's Italian, and yeah, I'm gonna make this into a hanging and have it in my tree all year round. My little tree, I have a little Christmas tree where I put up things. I kind of changed it out during the seasons, but lately I've had everything from Christmas baubles to little Easter eggs, and it's in the middle of summer. Actually I have little Easter chickens in it too, so I probably should clean it out and add new things. It's just that Leia likes to pick the eggs out of the tree, and it's a very fun game for her. So we just hang them back up, and then she picks them out, and then we hang them up. It's so fun. She needs that for her brain. Leia is my little kitty cat of 9 years. I have 2 of them. Gizmo is also 9 years, which is her little brother, but he's so much bigger than her. So next project is Under the Sea. This was a Sal 2022, and I finally got it finished a couple of months later. This is stitched on a 32 count linen that I have dyed myself, and I'm not sure it's the right fabric for this stitch. Some of the colors, specifically the white bubbles, doesn't really show up. Also, because I didn't have the variegated threads, and I didn't have the right kind of glitter threads. It's supposed to be a treasure braid. I don't have any. I just used, you can look if we go this way, I used a cranic, like just a glittery cranic, and the bubbles in the border just doesn't show up. So if I would stitch this again, I would do it on another fabric. However, I kind of like it as it is anyhow, even though the fabric isn't perfect. Next project that I finished, while I had finished that, I thought, hey, do I have any other frosted pumpkin stitcheries that I need to stitch or finish off? And I found that I only had this little piece left on the Midnight Way, so I decided to finish that off. So that was finished. This is stitched on a 16 count pewter by Swagart, and the only difference I made in this is that it is called for the 310 toil, and I didn't have the 310 toil when I stitched this, so I used the E310, so it is the light effects, and it's like a plastic thread that's supposed to be metallic, but it's more like just a black plastic. Working with very short length and not letting your needle move up and down the thread, kind of do a little fold with just an inch and a half of a tail, and that little tail, you keep your needle there, and then you use the rest of the length of the thread. Then you can actually use the rest of the length of the thread. So that worked out pretty good when I figured out how to do that. So the next project I can't find. I have it somewhere. I haven't given it away, but I can't find it. It is my own design. It's called When It Rains, and this is the design. So I've been having a pretty rough spring to summer. If you've been following along, you know that. And I was in the middle of one of those, and I decided, hey, this is what we're gonna work on. So When It Rains, It Pours. It is my own design, so you can find it over on the Crafty Bit shop on Etsy, and I don't remember what fabric I stitched this on at all right now. I think I looked it up, but I couldn't find it. Anyhow, it is stitched with some variegated threads, DMC. All of those details are actually mentioned in the pattern. And if you really want to know, I can kind of look at it and figure out. Anyhow, it does have a little red button on it, and that's only because I accidentally put some glue there that just didn't go away, so instead I just added a button so you couldn't see it. Happy accidents! The next project is another Santa. This is the Scotch Pine Santa. I really like these. This is so much beading. Like, the whole tree is basically beads. There are a little bit of stitching in there. It took a lot longer than it usually does, but I really loved it. And also, I loved stitching this kind of texture of the fabric. I loved it. It's a super cute Santa. Then it was coming up to May, and I wanted to make a little gift to my boyfriend. We are both a Star Wars fan, and during May, it's May the 4th, so it can kind of joke, may the fourth be with you, force be with you. So I made this one. This is a pattern I never released. It's just kind of a text pattern matching the, it's basically just the M here that really is Star Warsy. And what I've done with this is I've stitched most of it in glow in the dark E940 from DMC, but the 4 is stitched in white, and then I have done outlines with like a thread of the E940 and written force inside the white bar. So when you look at this during nighttime and you have had a lot of UV on it, it should say may the fourth force be with you instead. Kind of a joke. However, I accidentally stitched the T and the H also in light up, so it isn't perfect, but kind of. It's a little thing that my boyfriend has next to his, in our living room next to him there. Next is the Douglas Fir Santa. So this was another time when I realized towards the end of the month that I hadn't stitched my Santa. So I did stitch the Scotch Pine, and then just directly after that, after I finished the pillow, we were in May, and then I started the Douglas Fir Santa. So that is that, and again there's a lot of beads in that tree, which was a lot of fun to stitch. It has a little bunny and a little blue bird. I think it's another good Santa. I like the Santas. They're fairly big, so you have a couple of days of stitching on them, like 4 days of stitching if you stitch a lot like I do, but they're not super expensive. And then the next Mill Hill kit is this one, which is Puppy Love, which is the Mill Hill Spring Bouquet 2023 collection. Still have one left to stitch in that. There's a Kitty Love. Let's see if I can get this to focus. There is a Kitty Love also with a cat instead of a dog, so it's a similar piece. So I haven't gotten to it yet. I should have done the kitty one first. That kind of matches my grade more. So the next one, so the Stitchers Collective is a group on Instagram. I think they have a website, all of those. They do a lot of charity packages. They had an Earth Day package that I'm like, of course I'm gonna buy this. With charities, in that case you gave money to charity and then you sent in your receipt that you have given it and you could get the package. This is one of many that I really wanted to stitch. This is the first one, it's the only one I stitched so far, and it's called Arctic Friends, and it's by Flossie Fox Shop. I think it's gorgeous. This is stitched on I think it's an 18 count by Chromatic Alchemy. Chromatic Alchemy is a dyer out of the UK, and she's also one of the people that are on our little mini retreat that we have in February's, and she sells fabric pieces that have faults in them. So usually it means it has some kind of splatter somewhere that shouldn't be there and so on, and we can buy them for a much lower price. And this is one of those. So I don't have a color name for this, I just have the fabric. I also found, of course, in the World of Cross Stitching magazine from September 2022, these cute, they're 4 rainbow animals. So they're animals that are stitched with a dark brown outline, a little pink for like ears and nose, and then have rainbow effects for the rest of it. This was the first I finished, and that is the horse. The designer is Emma Compton. I think she's the designer of Stitcherovia. I think so, but maybe they're different. I don't know. It's so hard, but it's adorable. And it's from the September issue 2022 of Cross Stitching magazine. Then we have another design of mine. This was a pattern for like a week, and then I realized that this fabric that I have stitched it on is on a store, from a store that I don't want to patronize, be a patron of. I don't know what's the word is. Anyhow, this is the first version of it that was stitched on the fabric. However, you can get a very similar fabric in my store from Swagart. They aren't perfect dupes. So I decided I removed the fabric because I also have written where you could find the fabric in the design, and I didn't want to share that. So I pulled the pattern and I have not gotten it up yet, but I probably will towards next summer, and I have restitched it. But this is the first version, and because I don't believe in throwing things away, I actually gave this to my mother-in-law. They were really happy about it, so that was fun. That was actually the first cross-stitching pattern I gave to my mother-in-law. But yeah, it's called Midsummer Coast to Coast, and it represents where I grew up and where my boyfriend grew up. So on the different two coasts of Sweden, the east coast is represented by the red house and also by the lighthouse, and the lighthouse is actually from the island I grew up on. And on the other side it represents the west coast with the white houses because they have more white houses, and the lighthouse is from the island that Christopher grew up on. So it's coast to coast. It's me and Christopher together. Kind of a fun thing. And it's midsummer. It's a midsummer poem in the middle. We have another dimension kit. This is Gold Finks and Lilacs by Dimension. It is a very small kit. It is stitched on a 14 count, I think. Yes, a 14 count white Ida in the Dimension threads. Ooh, and I really, really liked it. I'm a bird lover. I love birds, and when I saw this, I knew I just wanted to stitch it. So, yeah. Gold Finks and Lilacs by Dimension. Then, we're just gonna warn you, I had a bee craze and a Primrose Cottage craze. I have stitched, except for not finishing High Rules, I have stitched all the bee stitches that Primrose Cottage Stitches had posted in the end of May. And that was why I burned out on bees. So let's get through this. They are all stitched on 14 count light yellow Ida from that same piece of fabric that I've had in my stash for a very long time. But as I said, you can get a similar light yellow Ida in my store at thecraftybitshop.etsy.com. But yeah, the first one is a Welcome to the Hive. Then we have Bumblebee Wishes. Summer Wishes and Bumblebee Kisses is what it's called. They all use the same threads, almost the same threads. They're a little bit of variation. So it was quite easy to just do a little floss drop chain, just cut out the fabrics as I went. So they were really, some of them just took like half a day to stitch. This is Kind Words. And the Summer Wishes, Bumblebee Kisses and the Kind Words, I actually had to wait like 2 days to get some threads. So they are started and stopped at the same day because I just needed to finish it with the last color there. Then we have Be Happy. So it's Happy, Be Humble, Kind. Again, it's gorgeous. I think I'm going to do a couple pillows of these. I have a friend that likes bees, so I might be making something for her. This is I Would Rather Be Stitching. That is one of their newer patterns. We have Be Nice and Buzz Off. And one of these are actually the extra shirt that you get with the High Rules. So when you buy the High Rules, you get an extra shirt. This is A, B, C, so A and then B, E, E and C, with all the B things in the ABC. Primrose does a lot of different kind of those kind of letterings. It was just that I was so into bees at this moment. And then we have the last one that I've done from Primrose, and that is this one, which is the August 9 patch, which had a bunch of designs. Then the Pride pack came out, the Pride Charity pack came out from the Stitchers Collective, that's the word, from the Stitcher. They worked together with another place. This was sold, so you purchased it from them and then they donated, and they ended up donating a lot of money. But the one I started to stitch, I have a bunch that I really want to stitch, but the one I started is this one. It is called All the Colors. It is by Stitch Sprout, and you can now get this at Stitch Sprout if you want to get it. All of the designs were designed by people that were kind of under the rainbow. So it felt really good to purchase, not only because they were for some LGBTQIA groups charity for, but also that the designer themselves were under that umbrella, that rainbow umbrella. So here that is. I actually have just painted this is just a bamboo frame that I painted black. And I am going to do that in the future with a couple more for a couple of the projects that I have here. I just haven't sewn it together. Didn't feel I had time, and then it's just been laying around. After I finished that, because I did want to finish that before the charity drive ended so that I could show it for the charity drive. I only showed it here on YouTube. I realized I don't have it on Facebook or on Instagram, so I need to be better at Instagram. That's just a thing. Next project is the last bee project I have. This is Honeybee Boulevard by Stitching with the Housewives. I was meant to do all 4 of them because they did get 4 of these out. But this I really was burnt out on these. This took much longer than I expected, and then I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this. The colors in this are actually taken from the colors that were from the Primrose Cottage stitches. So this is not the original colors, it is from the Primrose Cottage stitches colors. I just picked them a little bit how I wanted them. One of the bigger reasons is because most of these Dapper Doodads have basically the same colors, and they are kind of sharded in Color and Cotton, I think? No? Well, one of those bigger variegated or overdyed thread makers. And I have a hard time getting them here in Sweden, but also these are so small details that I don't feel that you need variegated threads to stitch them. If you're maybe on the white pieces here or on these 2 and a little bit here, but otherwise you wouldn't really see the variegation, so I didn't see the use of it. And then also the color combination doesn't speak to me. The design speak to me, but the color combination didn't, so I changed it. The next project is actually the Midsummer Coast to Coast version 2. When I pulled it and I wanted to restitch it, I decided that I would change it a little bit. I felt that the project I showed you before was a little bit drawn out, so I pushed everything together a little bit. Specifically, I removed a lot of dead space between the houses, and I feel it's a better composition. And this is stitched on a 36 count glittery Ida that I had dyed. It's in the color moss. I think light moss is what I call them. But yeah, that is the other version. I didn't really recharge it more than that. I pushed things a little bit more together so it was more balanced. Then we have the next project. We're coming to the end here, and that is Unexpected Visitors. You have probably seen it. If you've been here for a little while, you've probably seen it because it's one of the latest stitches I've done. This is from Night Spirit Studios. It was part of the hashtag Stitch for Sage, and it's stitched on Catching Coral, which is my own hand dyed, which you can actually get in the store right now. However, a little note, the fabrics are actually slightly darker than they are in the photos. I had serious issues taking those pictures, and I'm gonna retake them again. However, I wanted you to be able to pick up the fabrics if you want them. So this fabric called Catching Coral is in the store. It's like a peachy, it's fairly up to color as it's supposed to be. So I have 2 more fabric finishes, and we're gonna do them one by one, even though they're after each other. And that is the Rainbow Animals by Citrovia, Emma Condon. I hope they are not different people, but it is from the World of Costume magazine, September 2022. And that is first this penguin, which really have the rainbow with the purples and the blues up to the greens. I actually started the 3 last one and made them kind of more in a sort of factory setting. So I did all the black outlines, all the whites, all of the like fast details, and then I did the rainbow one by one. So I finished the penguin, and then I went in and I finished the panda, but I didn't finish the fox. However, I did that this week, so you will see that next week. So this is the panda, which also is a rainbow animal from the World of Cross Stitching magazine 2022. Now for my last 2 projects, those are Mill Hill kits. When I was on vacation, I did a lot of Mill Hill kits. The first one is this one. It is Haunted Cottage. It's from the 2023 autumn series. This actually over here and around the windows and stuff are glow-in-the-dark beads, which is kind of cool. This is fairly full coverage, around 5,500 stitches in these, but it's really, really nice and really, really fun to stitch on. And for the last one that I have, it is this one, which is the Norway Spruce Santa. And then we have come to the last, and this also has so many beads in that tray, so many beads, but it's gorgeous also. And that was all of my finishes from this first 6 months of the year. And as I said, there were so many. If I would have continued into until I finished, that would be 15, 20 more, and we don't want to sit through that. You will see that in January, or you can go back and watch my previous episodes if you want to see that. But that is all my finishes. They are very eclectic. I don't people, like, I have an eclectic taste. I don't remember the word right now. God, I just stitch everything that I like. So that's how it is. I'm not really one to, like, I'm very much into goth, or I'm very much into this. I'm very much into everything. When I was like was 16, 17, I went to school. I had a period when I had hair down to my waist. I was very much a studied person, and then I found a pair of big fluffy pants. I love dancing, so for me hip hop was very much a big part of my life. I was dancing hip hop and stuff, so that was something I went through. And another day, just around there, I cut all my hair short, this short, colored it black, and started walking around in goth because I thought that was cool. I kind of always been never really finding who I am, finding my place. Instead, I just like things and I like everything, and then that is what you get. So therefore you have a very eclectic cross-stitching from me. Anyhow, this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, please like it, comment, all of those things. If you have any questions, just comment down below. And if you want to see more like this, just hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next week. Bye!